You're listening to the Ask Drone U podcast. You ask, we answer your drone questions. Whether you're here to turn your passion into profit or you simply fly for fun, we're a community of learners and teachers who aspire to achieve greatness. We are
Drone U.
Hey everyone, welcome to another awesome episode of Ask Drone U. My name is Paul.
And I'm Rob, and you're listening to episode number 419. Cruising along here. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. We really appreciate that you spend a few minutes of your day with us every single day.
We do. I will say this, though. Recently, I saw a picture online, Rob, and that picture was an aerial photo from a drone.
Mm-hmm.
And in that photo, someone had mowed their lawn to spell out Trump.
Is that right?
Yeah, and I said, oh no, drones are finally getting into politics now. And then you know what?
What took so long?
I was like, you know what? I've got to have some fun with this. So I wrote on David Boggs' post, who took the picture. He's a member, by the way.
Yes.
You may know him from that national case of the guy shooting his drone out of the sky.
Which is still unfinished, right?
Correct. Anyway, David Boggs was taking this picture of this house. It says Trump in the lawn, and I commented, you should ask the guy if he can put Johnson on the lawn because it'd be a whole lot funnier to take a picture of a Johnson from the sky.
Oh, my word. It's a family show, Paul.
I think that flew over all the kids' heads, hopefully.
Yeah, probably until they start Googling. Let's see. What is
a
a Johnson?
Johnson?
That would be your friend, Chris Johnson.
Gary Johnson.
Gary Johnson, the ex-past, whatever, governor of New Mexico. And I think for the most part, people are pretty happy with what he did in New Mexico.
I think that is true.
He's a pretty level-headed guy. All of a sudden, we're doing a spot for Gary Johnson.
We're not talking about Gary Johnson.
Anyways.
We're not talking about the election in general. What we're here to talk about, though, is drones there, Rob. So get on your propeller hat and let's go flying.
Okay. I don't have a propeller hat.
We need to get you a propeller hat that has a spinning propeller on the top.
As long as it's a Drone U hat, I'll wear it. Maybe not. I don't know.
What if it was made out of foil?
Probably not.
Okay.
Probably
Glad we
not.
clarified that.
Yep.
We should probably get into today's question, which is brought to you by the Drone U community. If you're not a member, then you don't want to be maintaining a competitive advantage against your competition. But you also are going to severely limit that learning curve. Don't take a long time. Learn how to become a good pilot quickly. thedroneu.com.
Well, even more importantly is continue that learning process. And I think that's what we pride ourselves on. So all of that said, let's jump right into the question from Tom, who is a Drone U member.
Hello, Paul and Rob. My name is Tom. My aerial service is called Skypix Aerial. I recently saw a Facebook post by Paul that he acquired a contract with a local TV station. I am thinking of approaching one of our local TV stations to do some aerial work for them. There is already a company in our area that is doing work for a competing TV station, and they charge an hourly rate of $300 per hour. They don't always charge all of the hours, though, which makes it a little bit harder for them to make some money. I think that the price structure should be set up more like real estate packages, where you have so much for pictures or pictures and video or just video. That has a potential for greater profit, and everyone knows in advance the fee structure, less confusion in the end. Also, if live feeds were to be done, a $300 per hour fee sounds appropriate to me. What do you think of this, and what is your price structure? What's the type of work you're providing? Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Good question. And timely. As he alluded to, you have done some work recently for one of the local stations here.
I have. It was a lot of fun. It is an hourly based process because, a news crew could end up wasting your time, and my time is valuable, and I don't want to waste your time, Rob. I'm sure you don't want to waste my time, and that's why we pay an hourly fee. I think commoditizing and creating packages for your service and giving it to stations could help you, and I think it could also hurt you.
So do you think stations are open to that? I would think that stations in general, they're kind of set in their ways. Most of them have been around for a long time. it's obviously not a governmental entity, but I think there's probably some red tape, some bureaucracy in the way that they do things.
Yeah.
And so what are they used to doing? Are they used to the hourly structure? And if so...
well, I think this is a whole new area that they're paving. They're paving a new trail. CNN is trying to hire pilots. They're not paying very much. And frankly, CNN will get the coverage and the footage that they pay
deserve.
For. And they deserve.
Right.
A lot of other stations are doing the whole hourly thing. I've worked for 5 different stations at an hourly fee.
Mm-hmm.
All of my hourly fees were $3.75 or above an hour.
Okay.
Although if I do have a 1 hour minimum, and I also do one thing in particular for news stations that is unlike anything else that I do, and that is if they run from 61 minutes to 89 minutes, I will not charge them an extra hour. I will let them get 90 minutes of my time for the price of 1 hour, because I found that most shoots are like 70 minutes.
Interesting.
So this is one of the caveats I've done. It's made a lot of producers really happy, and they keep coming back, and I'm not really quite sure why, but I don't really care. So
that's kind of a departure from your typical philosophy of not giving anything away, though.
Yeah, and I'm not giving anything away. I'm still getting paid very well, but
True.
You know, they're using these shots for 5-10 seconds, and I think that I don't know. It's something that in all of my filming for the news, it's something that I've done.
Mm-hmm.
It's made them feel like, okay, look, he clearly values his time, but he understands that, you know, an extra 5 minutes, you know, they're not going to bend us over backwards.
Yeah,
and I think that's what it really comes down to more.
Sure, and one of the lessons that I think is to be had here is that somebody even as experienced as you, Paul, and who's done the work that you've done and has been paid the money that you've been paid, you're still looking for opportunities to be flexible in a way that benefits the client, which ultimately creates a win-win situation. So there's not any rigidness in the way that you're looking at this. And I think that's healthy. That's really good.
Yeah. Well, let's focus on relationships here.
Right.
You know, so one thing I will say, though, is that most TV stations do have horrible payment terms.
Like net 90?
Net 60 and net
60?
90.
Ooh,
yeah.
Yeah, that hurts.
Yeah.
I suppose you could write into your invoice that you want something different, or into your contract.
Most of them, it's a corporate structure, though. So
Yeah.
just like you're saying, you know, you're not getting paid until
It's
you
that
get in a corporate
whole-
structure.
that whole bureaucracy.
But I think the big thing here, Rob, is what we're going to see develop in the future. Because a lot of stations are going to try and hire on a guy who's just a drone pilot. They'll pay him $15-20 an hour, get him in, low-end salary. But they're going to see that quality of footage. And I think this is going to be another differentiator between stations.
Sure.
You know, which stations have quality drone footage and which stations just have kind of drone footage. Because just like you see now, there are stations that have helicopters, and some stations have really crappy helicopter footage, and it's like, not even sure you should have a helicopter.
Sure.
But this is going to be a big differentiation, and if people want the quality, they will pay for it. And, you know, if you don't have the quality, you can't charge those type of price points, so don't try to.
Right. So it is a little bit different, again, kind of going full circle here a little bit, from some of the other work that you do, which has a day rate.
Mm-hmm.
And so is this not a day rate because it's much shorter time periods? Like an hour to two?
I have never heard of anyone being on a news shoot for a whole day.
Okay.
Ever. So,
All right. So it's just not necessary.
No, and I think, you know, you could be there 4 or 5 hours if something is really developing, but you're building up a nice hefty bill for them.
Right.
So,
sure. And obviously they're going to be motivated to get your part of the work done if
Yes.
they're paying you hourly.
Yes.
And so you can get in and out of there and maybe even have another gig that same day. Advice for Tom and others who are thinking along these lines. What would you tell them?
packages are fine. Rarely are they ever going to ask for photos. So it's either going to be video or video. That's why I do my hourly rate. I don't feel like there is as much structure with the news as there are with, you know, realtors.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, having some sort of set structure help you? Sure. But it can also hurt you. And that's why I've gone this route, because news crews, they can be there in 20 minutes. They could be there in a couple hours. Sometimes they're very fast. Sometimes they're not. There's really no way to tell. And if you go in there and you say, okay, in order to do this shoot, it's going to be $250, and you're like, look, they're going to tell me where to go. I'm going to go shoot that scene, and it's going to be done, and I'm going to make $250 really quick. That's not always the case, because a lot of producers are going to say, you know what, I want to wait for the sun to go down to a certain angle so we can get the clouds kind of backlit, get a little bit more contrast in that. You know, I want to see that the horizon line is a certain, distance from the top of your framing.
So they are particular.
They are particular.
They can be.
And I think that you're cutting yourself short if you just say, I'll give you 30 or 60 seconds of video for $250, because, when I shot for the news, I gave them 70 clips. Literally 70 clips. They're all 15 seconds long, but there's 70 of them.
Right.
And they chose 2, and they're running that spot for the next 3 months.
And it turned out really well, by the way.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah,
Appreciate
no, it
that.
did. I mean, it was a really, really sweet commercial that they came up with, including your footage in that commercial. So, anyways, pretty straightforward, I guess. A lot of this, in terms of how to get into these TV stations, there's
Call
a
the
lot
producer.
of call a producer, but there's some networking. I mean, it's not just going to be a one phone call and, oh yeah, you're a drone pilot, come on down, we'll use you. I mean, it's not that simple, obviously.
Yeah, and they vet pretty extensively from what I've seen.
Right. So how did you get your gig? Just from who you know?
Relationships, yeah. I built relationships with some of the local reporters from one station, KRQE down here. But I don't know what the deal is over there, but they're so hyper-focused on doing things the way they've been doing them. In fact, this TV station that did call me, I was quite surprised because they've been vetting me for so long, and I was like, these guys are never going to call me. And they're like, no, we love your work. You've done very good on very, very high-end clients. We want to bring you on board. We know it's expensive, but if you want to know the truth, that's why most of the TV stations have questioned using you, because you're so expensive. So,
and yet here they are.
paying that money.
Well, and this is something that we've talked about for a long, long time, and it takes patience.
Yes.
And waiting and understanding your value, understanding what you're worth, believing in that, and not compromising.
If my mother would have told me that patience was the most profitable virtue, I probably would have listened.
That's an interesting way to put it. Yeah, no, that's true. And it's a really difficult thing, particularly for folks who don't have as many opportunities.
True.
So, and in that case, you may need to just go ahead and do what you need to do. Frankly, everybody has to weigh those or balance that out. But
focus on relationships and treating people right first. Always.
Yeah.
Always, always, always. That's taken me too long to learn.
Wow.
So
we're all still learning, Paul.
That is true.
That's called life.
Well, I'm going to go back to the strip club now, so 'cause I haven't learned enough.
Wait a minute. I don't know how we went from there to there.
Anyway, guys, that was a great question. Just talking, about the news and working for the news and hourly rates versus packages. Great question. We love hearing those, and you can ask a question at askdroneu.com. We will answer that for you. Guys, throw the business questions our way. We really, really want to talk about that type of stuff. Again, congrats to Tim West, who won a free membership. Again, if you ask a question, you get the chance to win a free membership, amongst other things. And honestly, if you're waiting to join the community, I don't know why you would. There's a lot of really incredible people that are in that community. It's just grown so much so fast, and it's really great to see. Anyway, guys, that's going to do it for us today. My name is Paul.
I'm Rob.
This is Ask Drone U.